Shalom, family. And welcome to another new moon, new month. And what a new moon is, it's actually a commanded gathering by Yah. And what we do in the new moon is we're commanded to get together. And Yahweh just give us an excuse to get together. You know, and you got to even think about with the new moon, right? It's signifying a new month. If we were to get rid of the calendar that we use today, we actually wouldn't know when their month began, which is called the Gregorian calendar, Pope Gregory. So if we were all to toss them or they were all to get burned, how would we keep up with when their months began? But Yahweh made it simple for us. He made it simple for all mankind. Like my brother said in his prayer, Yahweh made man upright, but man has created many inventions. So with this invention of this calendar, we take that to be law and word. But common sense thinking, simple planning, if we got rid of those calendars, when would their new month begin? We have no clue. But Yahweh made it simple for us to understand when we see no moon in the sky. The moon is still there, just that the reflection of the sun is not bouncing off of it. That's the beginning of his new month. Simple as that. Nothing complicated. So as we get into this new moon, this one's called volunteered versus voluntold. Now, we all know that's a joke around here. Even when I was looking at this, man, I looked at the last couple of classes that Elder Priest has put together, and I said, man, it's funny how Yahweh threw this out there, but it kind of goes along with all those other classes that he's done over the last couple of Shabbats. You know, we always hear you better go ahead and volunteer before you're voluntold. And as I looked into this situation, and if we can really think back, we're going to get into it, to all of the people that Yahweh called, there was no volunteers. They were voluntold. And the difference in that is that you realize that there's a difference between a volunteer being voluntold, and then you got those individuals who are just going to show up and do. Nobody has to ask them to do nothing. Nobody has to tell them to do nothing. They just going to show up and do. Just like the situation with Phinehas. Nobody told Phinehas what to do. But that zeal that was in his heart, I had to take care of this business. So you got those three types of people. You got your volunteers, those that voluntold, and then you got those who just have that different heart in them. Now, is there anything wrong with the people that's voluntold? No, the people that are voluntold, usually there's already something in them that makes them conducive for the job, but they might want to be a little reserved. Just like myself. Hey, the first time I was asked to read, the answer was no. It took about the second, maybe the third time, and I said, all right, I'll go ahead and read. But then I look back and it's funny because in high school, I was one of them that had that CP English, college prep English in high school. So you get to do a lot of reading. And I was just thinking about that this evening. It's funny how that all went down. It's like in college prep English, you're doing a lot of plays and stuff like that. So whenever I'm in class and I know we're doing a play, I'd skim through all the characters and see what men got the most roles, the most reading role. By the time the teacher say, who wanted this character? Boom, my hand would go up. And I could see her look directly at me and go, you can do it. I'd be like, wow. I know who got the second, who got the third. I want to read. Second one, boom, hand go up. I can see her look at me. You can have that part. And after the third one, I'm like, I'm done. She'll come to the person. You want to do this person? Man, that person got one line. No, I'm good. Oh, well, looks like you're going to get F3F. Whatever. But I look at that, the volunteering, all that volunteering I did. Yahweh probably was laughing like, no, you going to go have a whole lot more reading as you get older. You just don't know it yet. You upset now because you keep volunteering. Later on, you're going to be voluntold. But that's just life. So let's go ahead and jump into this. The definition for volunteer: a person who voluntarily undertakes or expresses a willingness to undertake a service. This second part got me. One who renders a service or takes part in a transaction while having no legal concern or interest. The reason why this got me is because I thought about all this time of the UCI and the journey, of all the people who jump out when they come and volunteer. Oh man, I know how to do this and boastful with this. I can do this for y'all and I can do that for y'all. And then they seem to fall by the wayside. The answer came in this second one right here. Once again, one who renders a service or takes part in a transaction while having no legal concern or interest. They're not tied to it. They can leave whenever they want. Voluntarily came, I can voluntarily leave. Now, when you voluntold, there's more of a weight on you. Because now somebody placed an obligation on you. That part of them falling off didn't make sense till I got that second definition. Let's start in Isaiah chapter 49. Isaiah chapter 49, and we're going to read verses 1 through 7.
Listen, O owls, unto me, and hearken, you people from far. Yahweh had called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother had he made mention of my name. And he had made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hands has he hid me, and made me polished shaft. In his quiver had he hid me. And he said unto me, you are my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught. And in vain, yet surely my judgment is with Yah, and my work with my Elohim. And now, says Yah, that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yah, and my Elohim be my strength, shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing that you shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Thus says Yah, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to whom man despised, to him whom the nation abhorred, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yahweh that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose you.
So verse 4, then I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh and my work with my Elohim. And that is what happens when it says, don't get weary in well-doing. Well, you got to remember that everybody you talk to is not to bring them in the word. That's family, friends, and strangers alike. But you see, if we looking for that instant gratification, then we will get on ourselves, man. I've labored in vain. Nah, don't get weary in well-doing. The next thing he says is, and he said, is it a light thing that you should be a servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob? That's the servitude. Being a servant of Yahweh is not a light thing. But see, that's where the volunteers come in, because they think it's glitz and glamour. And then when the road get too rough and they realize this is real, and they fall off. And some fall off to go do what they think is how this walk should be. Some of them don't fall off and just disappear and go back into their old life. You see some of them people go create their own channels because what? They want to make it a light thing for themselves. This servitude is not going to be light, and it has never been light. Let's go to Numbers chapter 16. I don't care what department you in. You put forth your best effort at all times. What we have to remember is, as you're in a department in this part of the body, you're not working for the UCI. You're not working for Elder Priest Esaac. This is Yahweh's house. You're in a department in Yahweh's house. That's what you got to look at. If you're in the choir, I don't care if you're just a backup singer. You're Yahweh's backup singer. You're not the UCI's backup singer. You're a part of the choir that's at the UCI. But it's Yahweh's choir. If you stand in guard at the door, you're a guard at Yahweh's house. So the thing is to do what? Be the best servant you can be. And get to that next level of servitude of where that zeal is there, that you don't have to be voluntold. You can see something and say, hey, I know this needs to get done. Go ahead.
Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Pelet, son of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said unto them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then you lift up yourselves above the congregation of Yah. And when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake to Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he has chosen will he cause to come unto him. This do. Take your censers, Korah, and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh does chose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. And Moshe said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you that Yahweh, that Elohim of Israel had separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and stand before the congregation to minister unto them. And he had brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the son of Levi, with you, and seek you priesthood also, for which cause both of you and all the company are gathered together against Yahweh. And what is Aaron, that you murmur against him?
And he has brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you, and seek you the priesthood also. So they volunteering for something they know nothing about. Nobody asked for any volunteers. But they trying to step into a position that they weren't voluntold to go do. They weren't called to go do. You going up against men that were told what to do. Moshe didn't volunteer for this position. Aaron didn't volunteer for this position. They were voluntold. Now you got men trying to come up against them, volunteering their services.
You know, sometimes, brother, you can be that close to something that powerful and believe that you're something. Then they took on, they blame that on Moshe. They said what Moshe should have said to them when they decided to gather themselves up against him.
Well, see, they were so close to it that they figured that they could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing with Lucifer. He sat and looked at, he stood by the seat long enough that he think he can sit in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go to Acts chapter 8. Even in that situation, you got to look at what they say. When you're invited to a marriage, right? You say, go sit you in a low seat. And wait till you get called up to a higher seat. But some people can't wait to be called up. Because what? You can't respect the position that you currently have? Be thankful you were just called and invited. You could be standing outside the door and don't have an invitation. But now you got an invitation and you want to get beside yourself. Go ahead, my brother. Acts chapter 8.
Acts chapter 8, verse 9. But there was a certain man called Simeon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one, to whom they all gave heed from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of Elohim. And to him they had regard, because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorceries. But when they believed Philip, preaching the things concerning the kingdom of Elohim, in the name of Yahshua the Mashiach, they were baptized, both men and women. Then Simeon himself believed also, and when he was baptized, he continued with Philip, and wondered, beholding the miracles and the signs which were done. Now, when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the word of Elohim, they sent unto them Cephas and Johanan.
Now, then Simeon himself believed also. And when he was baptized, he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs which were done. He had a hook in his jaw. He couldn't get his eyes off of that thing. So what was the baptism for? He thought he was in the right place, but the baptism was to get closer to that thing. If you all stick around long enough, you will see people come in and out these doors. And they might be here for a month, 2 months. And then you realize the next time you see them, they're on the internet teaching. But what happened?
Zeal, overzealous.
Not only just the overzealous, you got people who see us online and they coming to figure out, how can I do that thing? So they come to spy out our liberties and then say, okay, let me go reproduce this. We all have opportunities here. We're supposed to be a nation of priests. And I've said it to some of you brothers before. Elder Yaakov said he taught priests. Elder Priest Esaac is a product out of Elder Yaakov's teaching. I'm a product out of Elder Yaakov's teaching. So if y'all in the room with people, brothers, who came out of a congregation where he taught priests, what do y'all think y'all have stepped into? It might not happen here where you get that opportunity, but like he would say, Elder Yaakov would say, keep sitting in that seat. We got a journey out of here. We might not all end up in the same place at the same time. But are you going to be able to step up and be that priest when you're voluntold? I listen to the conversations of some of y'all about the encounters you have out in the streets, and you don't realize that that's sharpening you for what's to come. You're getting your practice. But I'll tell you this also. Whatever questions you have, if you don't ask them now, when that separation comes, you will not get to ask them then. So volunteer yourself to pull the elder priest in the corner and ask him all the questions you can. While you can. That's one thing you should definitely volunteer yourself to go do. We are to be a nation of priests. But like we just read, there's also levels to the priesthood. We see some brothers, or we read where some brothers tried to step up in a level of the priesthood that did not concern them. Will we know the level that we should be at and understand the level of where we stand? And if we don't know, I think it's individual faults because we go over this stuff over and over and over. I think of all the congregations, I don't keep it with other congregations, but I think we're constantly going over the priesthood. We're constantly going over how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. I think we're constantly going over the things that the priests do. While there's other people using the scripts to bash sisters, I don't think that's very priest-like. So if that's where you're at, then probably safe to say that you're not going to be at that level of priesthood. Go ahead. I think that was it, right?
No.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. Acts chapter 8, verse 14. Now when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the word of Elohim, they sent unto them Cephas and Johanan, who when they were come down prayed for them, that they might receive the Holy Spirit. For as yet he was fallen upon none of them, only they were baptized in the name of the Adonai Yahshua. Then laid they their hands on them and received the Holy Spirit. And when Simeon saw that through laying on of the apostles' hands the Holy Spirit was given, he offered them money, saying, Give me also this power, that on whomsoever I lay hands, he may receive the Holy Spirit.
So in verse 13, then Simeon himself believed also, and when he was baptized, he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and the signs which were done. So up until that point, he's seeing miracles and signs. Okay? Verse 18, and when Simeon saw that through laying on of the apostles' hand, the Holy Spirit was given, he offered them money. He saw a whole nother level that went beyond the miracles. Now he want to volunteer to buy the gift. Go ahead.
It says before time, verse 9, but there was a certain man called Simeon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people. So this might have compelled him doing all this sorcery, and the people, they followed him for these things. They seen these things that he did. Might have compelled him to then ask.
Oh, not might. It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Because now he ain't the man no more.
Mm-hmm.
But now he realizing that this ain't bewitching and this ain't sorcery. This is real power. Mm-hmm. So how can I get the real power? Oh, because he was the man.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be back in the state of being the man. to the point that I'm going to volunteer to buy this gift. Go ahead.
Verse 20. But Cephas said unto him, your money perish with you, because you had thought that the gift of Elohim may be purchased with money. You has neither part nor lot in this matter, for your heart is not right in the sight of Elohim. Repent therefore of this your wickedness, and pray Elohim, and pray Elohim, if perhaps the thought of your heart may be forgiven you.
So you have neither part nor lot in this matter, for your heart is not right in the sight of Elohim. So how many people come through the doors with the wrong thought process, thinking they're a part of the body, and they're not? Like I said, I've seen many people jump through the door and volunteer boastfully, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can help y'all do this. And they wither away. Some of them go on to do great things for the world. Some of them take this same word and go spread it with some magnificent visuals and all kinds of stuff. But got to stop and think with all that we're saying, are you really a part of the body? Are you edifying Yahweh? Or are you edifying yourself? That's what we see here. He didn't want to be in the background. He wants to be edified. He wants to be in the position to be some great one again. Because since these brothers hit town, brother, my fame has gone down. And that's what we got to realize. This little congregation, since we've hit town, it's rattled a few cages. But we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep moving forward. And some of y'all are going to get upset when you voluntold to go do something. But just keep in mind that nobody's going to tell you to do something unless that gift's already been seen somewhere. I don't recall why I was asked to read. Because somebody can speak properly don't mean they can read well. But that's what we got to look at. What he said, I knew you from the womb. There's people in this room who came in because of somebody else, and that person is not here. I'm one of them. But we got to keep it on. Go ahead.
Verse 23. For I perceive that you are in the gall of bitterness and in the bond of lawlessness. Then answered Simeon and said, pray you to the Adonai for me, that none of these things which you have spoken come upon me.
But that's the problem. Even when the truth is told to us that we're in the wrong state, can we humble ourselves to say, brother, hey, sister, can you pray for me? Rather just walk away and stay in that state. And what did it say? The state of that man the second time around is worse than it was the first time. How can you come into the shepherd's tent and when correction reaches you, you run out the tent? You're already in a bad place before you came into the tent. You come into the tent and you get washed. But then because of a correction, you retreat from the shepherd's tent? the state is definitely going to be worse the second time around. I'd rather stick around and take my bumps and bruises. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. So far, all we've looked at is a couple of volunteers, and we see how those situations with those volunteers came out. We saw Korah and his crew volunteering to step into a position they weren't supposed to be in. Right? We just read about Simeon volunteering to pay money to get the gift to be able to pass on the Holy Spirit. So we see the trouble that these volunteers bring, don't we? All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. We're going to start at verse 18.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, hear you therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all of the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh, and said, I will persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, you shall persuade him, and prevail also. Go forward and do so. Now therefore, behold, Yahweh had put a lying spirit in the mouth of all your prophets.
Of these your prophets.
Of these your prophets. And Yahweh had spoken evil concerning you.
So we see that Yahweh and the angels are having a conversation, right? And they all going back and forth in this conversation. And then we get what?
A volunteer.
A volunteer. Yahweh said, okay, well, how you going to do this? In all other situations, Yahweh tell people what to go do. He gave them opportunity. But let's make this fair. How we going to deal with this? And Yahweh said, guess what? Really, that's how you going to do it? Go ahead, and you shall prevail. Another example of a volunteer jumping up. Not only did he jump up, he didn't ask Yahweh how he should move forward. He told him how he was going to move forward. So guess what? You've been looking for this opportunity for a while, haven't you? And maybe the whole test wasn't about all the people in the room. Maybe Yahweh threw it out there because he already knew what this one was up to. But now I need you to show yourself. And guess what? You showed yourself and you volunteered yourself. Let's go to Mark chapter 10.
Mark chapter 10, verse 35. And Jacob and Johanan, the sons of Zebedee, come unto him, saying, Master, we would that you should do for us whatsoever we shall desire. And he said unto them, What would you that I should do for you? That said unto him, Grant us that we may sit, one on your right hand and the other on your left hand, in your glory. But Yahshua said unto them, You know not what you ask. Can you drink of the cup that I drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I baptized with?
So here's another volunteer situation. They said unto him, Grant us that we may sit. They volunteering themselves to sit on the right and sit on the left. So what about the other brothers in the room? Cephas already been told that you're going to be the rock. You don't even care about Cephas. It's about me and my brother. We volunteering to sit on your left and on your right. We got you. Not realizing this. If it's 12 of y'all, what is your thought process about the other 10 then? If it's only a seat on the left and a seat on the right, me and my brother want the seat on the left and on the right. What do you mean for the other 10? How do we? I mean, to us, the other 10 of y'all don't mean nothing then. Y'all just sit in the common seats. We're going to be all right. And they weren't even the first ones called. But yet, look what they're volunteering for. Power positions. We look at it, all the volunteers are volunteering to be seen. Because that means I'm going to sit here, he's going to sit here, and all y'all got to look at us. Got to look at the thought process. But then what it said about the volunteer, it got no legal binding. Go ahead.
And they said unto him, we can. And Yahshua said unto them, you shall indeed drink of the cup that I drink of, and with the baptism that I am baptized with shall you be baptized. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared. And when the 10 heard, And when the 10 heard it, they began to be much displeased with Jacob and Johanan. But Yahshua called them to know him and said unto them, you know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. But so shall it not be among you, but whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister. And whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be the servant of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many.
So it says, verse 42, but Yahshua called them to him, because they all upset now, right? The other 10 upset, right? Because of what these two said, right? And says unto them, you know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentile exercise lordship over them, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. This is the position those two were asking for. A position which would give them authority over the other ones, lordship over the other ones. Now he got to bring it back down. But so shall it not be among you. In other words, none of y'all gonna rule over none of y'all. We're going to respect each other's position. Because even when you think about Cephas, the rock, even with his position, Saul was given a position away from him and given authority to go to the Gentiles. Saul respected his position. When Cephas got in his way, what Saul did? When confronted him. Nah, bro, you causing me problems. Isn't that what Yahshua just said? None of y'all gonna have power one over the other. So we just went through a bunch of volunteers. Now, voluntold. Funny, there is a definition for voluntold. Even though we use that around here. Voluntold. Today in the corporate world, voluntold is still slang. It's the combining of two words, volunteer and told, for a more accurate description of when someone else delegates a task to you. After all, Macmillan Dictionary defines the word as forcefully volunteered, ordered to do something. And when you look at Yahweh's servants, they were all voluntold. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 1.
Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1. The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth, and in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahweh came in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Yehudah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Joash, king of Yehudah, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Yehudah, until the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Adonai Elohim, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But Yahweh said unto me, Say not, I am a child, for you shall go to all that I shall send you, and whatsoever I command you, you shall speak.
And this is what you're going to realize with most voluntold. Most of us, when we voluntold something, we all got an excuse. Even though we know we might can do that, bruh, nah, man, I don't want to, bruh, I'm good. Cause like I said, hey, when you want to read, bruh, I'm good. I'm gonna sit right out there with everybody else and listen to you do your class. And we're gonna see this time and time again. But it's different with the volunteers. Go ahead.
Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, said Yah. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And Yahweh said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in your mouth. See, I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out, and to pull down, and to destroy, and to throw down, to build, and to plant.
And this is what I said earlier. Let's not get weary in well-doing as we're out there doing the job and we're not seeing instant results, because this is the complete formula. Sometimes when you speaking, it's to root out. Other times it's to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. So because we don't know which phase we're in at that point in time, we might get discouraged because we see the wrong outcome. So let's keep in mind all these different outcomes. So maybe we can start identifying the outcome when the outcome comes and be okay within ourselves and not get weary in well-doing. Go ahead.
Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Jeremiah, what seest you? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. Then said Yahweh unto me, you have well seen, for I will hasten my word to perform it. And the word of Yahweh came unto me the second time, saying, what seest you? And I said, I see a seething pot, and the face thereof is towards the north. Then Yahweh said unto me, put out of the north, and evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitations of the land. For lo, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north, said Yahweh, and they shall come, and they shall set everyone his throne at the entering of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all the walls thereof round about, and against all the cities of Yehudah.
Now, when this prophecy is being said, this is being talked about in the land. But do we understand that there's also a part of future prophecy in this as well? It says, Then Yahweh said unto me, out of the north an evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. Do we understand that the destruction of this place is still coming from out of the north? Go ahead.
And I will utter my judgments against them, touching all the wickedness who have forsaken me, and have burnt incense unto other gods, and worshiped the works of their own hands. You therefore gird up your loins, and arise, and speak unto them all that I command you. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound you before them. For behold, I have made you this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Yehudah, against the princes thereof, against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against you. They shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to deliver you.
All right, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. 1 Samuel chapter 16. And we're going to start at verse 1.
And Yahweh said unto Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And Yahweh said, take an heifer with you, and say, I am come to sacrifice to Yahweh. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. And you shall anoint unto me him whom I name unto you. And Samuel did that which Yahweh spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and saying, come you peaceably? And he said, peaceably. I come to sacrifice unto Yahweh. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, surely Yahweh is anointing is before him. But Yahweh said unto Samuel, look not on to his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahweh sees not as man sees. For man look upon the outward appearance, but Yahweh looks upon the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab, and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither has Yahweh chosen this. Then Jesse made Shemaiah to pass by, and he said, neither has Yahweh chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahweh had not chosen these. And Samuel said to Jesse, are here all your children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keeps the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down until he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ready, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of Yahweh departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahweh troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, behold now, an evil spirit from Elohim troubles you. Let our Adonai now command your servants, which are before you, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on a harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from Elohim is upon you, that he shall play with his hand, and you shall be well. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen the son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and comely person. And Yahweh is with him. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse and said, Send me Dawid your son, which is with the sheep.
So when we read the beginning of this, Samuel is sent to go anoint Dawid. Samuel did not volunteer himself and would not have volunteered himself. We heard him say, Saul will kill me. So we understand that he did not volunteer himself. He went and anointed Dawid king. Dawid did not volunteer himself to be king. He was told, you the next king. We also see that Dawid was not asked if he want to go play the harp for Saul. Okay? He was told, this is what you're going to do. So we see the differences. Dawid had no choice in none of these matters. This man said, send me your son. Yes, he didn't even have a choice. Who's going to say no to the king? Saul, the man who they know will kill people? Voluntold, and I said there's those special people who don't have to volunteer or be voluntold. It's just in their spirit to see what needs to be done and jump in and help out. They might even get the job done before you get there. All they had to do was hear that there was a need. We've got people that priest might talk about something on air and turn around, have a box, and they come in the next day. Open the mail. What the heck is this? Oh, well, I heard y'all say y'all talking about this. It just show up in the mail. They don't say, hey, y'all really need this? I can do it for you. They just get it done. But like I said, when you look at the ability, why would you go ask Dawid if he want to play the harp? No, you know that gift is there already. They told Saul, nah, he's good. They mentioned nobody else. We know him. I'm the king. I'm in charge. Why am I ask you to, if you're going to volunteer yourself to come play? No, I'm telling you, you're going to come play for me. Matter of fact, I'm telling your daddy. And once I tell him, you ain't got no choice. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 6. Moreover, he said, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Esaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon Elohim. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppressions wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, I will send you unto Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moshe said unto Elohim, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
Can anybody recall him being asked if he wanted to go do this? Can anybody recall him being given the opportunity to volunteer to go do this? Yahweh came and explained, this is what's going on. And then he said, now come on. Let me send you on down there. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you what you're going to go do. But then the next thing he says is, and Moshe said unto Elohim, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? That's searching yourself. Like I said, the volunteers will come in and boastfully want to, and this is not all volunteers, but this is what I've seen when it comes here, the boastful volunteering seems to fall by the wayside. When you go to 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 18, it says, then went King David in and sat before Yahweh, and he said, who am I, O Adonai, and what is my house that you have brought me hitherto? David saying the same thing Moshe said. Who am I? Yahweh didn't ask him though. Who am I? I answer that for you. Yahweh's servant. A true servant is going to do what he's told. That's what we're supposed to be striving to be. David went through good, bad. Moshe went through good, bad, ups and downs. But guess what? When it was time to do the work, they were there to do the job. Yahweh didn't give them no choice. Maybe we all got to ask ourselves that question. Who am I that you brought me thus far, Yahweh? Who am I that you're so mindful of me and allowed me to have knowledge of your righteous ways? Who am I that you've allowed for me to enter into the shepherd's tent and give me an opportunity at salvation? And then let's all reflect back and say, but am I worthy of the calling? Let's go to Matthew chapter 4. Matthew chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 18.
And Yeshua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simeon, called Cephas, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. And going on from thence, he saw other two brethren, Jacob the son of Zebedee, and Johanan his brother, in a ship with Zebedee their father, mending their nets, and he called them.
So once again we see being voluntold. And he says unto them, follow me. This is Cephas and Andrew his brother. He didn't say, hey, what y'all got going on? Y'all feel like being disciples? He just, hey, come follow me. It said they straightway dropped what they was doing and followed him. He did not ask them, did they want to be a part of his discipleship? They were told. This is what you now do, come on. Then you go with Jacob and Zebedee. They with their dad. Fixing the nets, they also fishermen. What happened again? Come, follow me. They dropped what they was doing, left the old man. Went and followed him. But now, we look at Cephas and Andrew were the first two called. Jacob and Johanan was the next set. I mean, do you think they feel a little special there to think that now they could ask for that position that they asked for that we read about earlier? Well, besides Cephas and Andrew, we was here before everybody else. And then we read again where even their mother asked that same thing for them. Go ahead.
And they immediately left the ship and their father and followed him.
All right. And then when you go to Matthew chapter 9 and 9, I don't know if you just want to jot this down. And as Yahshua passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of customs. And he says unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him. I don't hear him asking for volunteers. I hear people being voluntold. Let's go to Yohanan chapter 1. John chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 35.
Again the next day, after Johannes stood, and two of his disciples, and looking upon Yahshua as he walked, he said, behold, the Lamb of Elohim. And the two disciples heard him speak, and they followed Yahshua. Then Yahshua turned and saw them following, and said unto them, what seek you? They said unto him, Rabbi, which is to say, being interpreted, Master, where dwellest you? He said unto them, come and see. They came and saw where he dwelt, and abode with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. One of the two which heard Johannes speak and followed him was Andrew, Simeon, Cephas' brother. He first findeth his own brother, Simeon, and said unto him, we have found the Messiah, which is, being interpreted, Christ. And he brought him to Yahshua. And when Yahshua beheld him, he said, you art Simeon, the son of Jonah. You shall be called Cephas, which is, by interpretation, a stone. The day following, Yahshua would go forth into Galilee and find Philip, and said unto him, follow me.
Do we see a pattern here? He just walked by people and said, hey, follow me. It's not like, hey, I'm building this band of merry men, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, you want to join us? No. Hey, follow me. People drop what they're doing and move on. So when you got that type of dedication, we can understand when we read further down and people come along with these excuses. Oh, Adney, I got to first go do this. Adney, I first got to go, let me go do this. Let me go take care of this. Hey, man, these first that I gathered together dropped what they were doing and came along. Why would I take any less than that type of dedication? Why would I want you on board? You already showing me that you got too much going on. Now, it's funny when I look at Cephas and Andrew, fishermen, Jacob and Yohanan, fishermen. And for some doggone reason, this congregation got more Navy people than anything else. So what's the calling? But see, those are different type of individuals. Those are rough, rugged individuals. So when people try to paint this picture of Yahshua being this soft, lovey-dovey, easy-going guy, man, you can't be that with those type of people. Man, they would ran him over. You talking about sailors who get into a drunken stupor and cuss and swear like sailors. You think he could have been some timid individual and kept them in check? And we listen to some conversations that he had with Cephas. We listen to how he go at them. Confrontational. He couldn't have been timid. Bro, he would have got no respect from them dudes. So let's not let people paint us this picture of the Mashiach being this easygoing, lovey-dovey guy. Jesus might be that. But Yahshua ain't that. So let's not get it mixed up. Where are we going next there, brother? Mark chapter 2.
Mark chapter 2, verse 13. And he went forth again by the seaside, and all the multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the receipt of custom, and said unto him, Follow me. And he arose and followed him.
So now he's sitting at the receipt of customs. We talking about a tax collector. Okay? So you got fishermen, you got a tax collector. What Yahweh said about his servants, don't be afraid of the looks on their faces. You think the tax collector can be collecting taxes and be afraid of the looks on their faces? Just like these fishermen are rough, tough brothers, hey, tax collector got to be built different. Because when you come in with your sob stories, I don't want to hear it. This bill needs to be paid. Sorry to hear that you're going through this, that, and that, but see this bill right here? It's got your name on it. This bill is due. I need to take care of this business. So this is a man who is used to taking care of serious business. Luke chapter 5. So that's Levi at the receipts of custom. Let's take another look at Levi at the receipts of custom. Luke chapter 5, and we're going to read verses 27 through 29.
After these things, he went forth and saw a publican named Levi sitting at the receipt of customs. And he said unto him, Follow me. And he left all, rose up, and followed him. And Levi made him a great feast in his own house. And there was a great company of publicans and of others that sat down with them.
So Levi rose up, left everything, and followed him. And then took him back to his house and had a great feast. Now, when you look at this, it keeps saying Levi, the son of Alphaeus, right? But as you continue to look at this, there's also two Jacobs. You're going to see Levi a couple of times, and then you're going to wonder what happened to Levi. Did Levi just drop off? But then you'll see, it'll also say Jacob or James, son of Alphaeus. It's the same individual. But if you're not paying attention, you think that, well, Levi must have went back to collecting taxes. No, he stuck out his job. Just like we hear Cephas, we hear Peter, Simeon. All those three is the same person. When you get into here, you're going to hear Johanan and Jacob, the sons of Zebedee, and then you're going to hear of another Jacob. That's this Levi. Acts chapter 9.
Acts chapter 9, verse 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of Yahweh, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he had found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecuted me?
So in verse 1, and Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughters against the disciples of Adonai, went on to the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus. He's volunteering himself to go do this. He's volunteering himself to go do what? Wickedness. Go ahead.
And he said, Who art you, Adonai? And the Adonai said, I am Yeshua whom you persecute. It is hard for you to kick against the pricks. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Adonai, what will you have me to do? And the Adonai said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told you what you must do.
So he asked the question, what will you have me to do? He said, go in the city and you're going to be told what you're going to do. You ain't volunteering to do nothing. You're being told what you're going to do. Go ahead.
And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him said the Adonai in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Adonai. And the Adonai said unto him, Arise, and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Yehuda for one called Saul of Tarshish. For, behold, he prays, and had seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in, and putting his hand on him, that he may receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Adonai, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he had done to your saints at Jerusalem. And here he had authority from the chief priests to bind all that called on your name. But the Adonai said unto him, Go your way, for he's a chosen vessel unto me.
So in plain English, he said, man, do as you told. Ananias thought he was volunteering for something. I heard. No, go do what I told you to go do. I'm not asking you if you want to go do this. I'm telling you to go do this. I think you got this a little bit confused. Man, go your way. Jacob used to say what? Do as you told. Volunteer, voluntold, and then there's that other spirit of zeal who just gets the job done. Go ahead.
And here he had authority from the chief priest to bind all that called on your name. But Yahweh said unto him, Go your way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
He must suffer. Go ahead.
And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him said, Brother Saul, the Adonai, even Yeshua, had appeared unto you in the way as you came, has sent me that you might receive your sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit. And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith and arose and was baptized.
All right, let's go to Jonah chapter 1. Another one who thought he was going to do what he wanted to do.
Right.
Jonah chapter 1 and verse 1.
Now the word of Yahweh came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Joppa. He found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh.
So now the word of Yahweh came unto Jonah. Yahweh said, arise and go to Nineveh. But for some reason, Jonah thought he had a choice. This was not a voluntary situation. So he decided he gonna run off and go do what he wants to do. But let's also look at, would Jonah have volunteered himself? Let's go to Jonah chapter 3, and we're gonna start at verse 10.
And Elohim saw their works, that they turned from their evil way.
This is the people of Nineveh now.
And Elohim repented of the evil that he had said that he would do unto them, and he did it not. But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he was very angry. And he prayed unto Yahweh, and said, I pray you, O Yahweh, was not this my saying when I was yet in my country? Therefore I fled before unto Tarshish, for I knew that you art a gracious Elohim, and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repentance of the evil. Therefore now, O Yahweh, take I beseech you, my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live.
Wah. So we look at the fact that he was not going to volunteer to do this. There's no way he would have ever volunteered to do this. Because he said from the get-go, I knew you would pardon these people and show mercy to these people. That's why Yahweh had to tell him to go do it. I'm not giving you a choice. You're not volunteering to do this. You're being voluntold to go do it. But then we see right there towards the end when he started whining. See, this is why I fled, because I know you merciful. I didn't want to come do this because you might turn around and show them compassion. This brother said that's not how he sounded. Were you there to know how he sounded? It might have been more crying behind it. Might have had his pink socks on. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 12. This is the last piece of scripture we're going to do for this evening.
Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curses you. And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed, as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with them. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came.
Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. 75 years old when Yahweh said, hey, go do this. I don't think any of us in this room, any of us in this building is 75 years old just yet. But here's a 75-year-old man being told to move, and he moved. Okay? So then we got to ask ourselves, what is our excuse? It's not easy at 75. It's not easy at 50 to even get new jobs and relocate. Because after a certain age, companies start looking at you different. This man is being told to pack up and relocate. You and your whole family. Now, who's to say that when you get where you going that there's any type of occupation for you there? But interestingly enough, if you read and go back, his father Terah had actually started that journey and thought process of going to Canaan land. But there's some things of Terah that Yahweh didn't need for Abram to take into the land of Canaan with him. But we just got to consider, once Yahweh calls you, are you willing to do what's necessary to move? Or are we going to run around and try to make our own excuses about, well, I know you this kind of L and I know you that kind of L. That's why I did this. How about being thankful that you the L that called upon me? You the L that saw something in me fit to be used as a servant, a righteous servant. Instead of making excuses to go do what we want to do. We all possess gifts. And it's those gifts that Yahweh is trying to use in his house and in his kingdom. And some of us got gifts tapped in that we may not know about. But you will never find that gift if you don't allow yourself to be used. We can be happy just knowing that we Israelites. We can be happy with just knowing that we the chosen. But then chosen for what? So we want to be open to be voluntold. We want to be open to have that next level of zeal where you can see what needs to be done in Yah's house, in Yah's vineyard, and just go do it. Do we stand by and wait to say, okay, well, I see the wall falling. I'm not going to say nothing until somebody voluntold me before I go prop something up there to put the wall up? We're in the training grounds. There comes a point after being voluntold that your conscience, your eyes, your heart, your spirit should understand the movement of Yahweh's house. Understand how your Elohim operates. Knowing that he knows the gift and abilities that you've been given. A lot of times we sit around the table and we talk about, the glory days and what we used to do when we was younger and this and that and that. But do we look and see how those same abilities can be applied and put forward into Yahweh's house and Yahweh's vineyard? Yahweh takes the least and makes something great out of them. Like I said, we see the volunteers coming through the door and they're already making themselves some great one. If you already some great one coming through the door, what can Yahweh do with you? If you coming through the door exalting yourself, how much more higher can you go then? We're going to have ups and downs. trials and tribulations. But from the beginning of this book to the back of this book, you show me what true servant didn't have trials and tribulations and ups and downs. Yeah, I made fun of Yonah crying in the end. But boy, if we go into Psalms, we can go through a whole lot of crying coming from Dawid. So do we get to the point that we think that, they say men don't cry. Okay. But damn it, true servants of Yahweh is a cry. Okay? That's all we're going to do for this evening. Everybody enjoy your new